Hey there, welcome to 4 Minute Friday with me, Brian Conway from achievesuccess.co.uk. And if you've never joined me before, or if you have joined me before, bear with me. You know I always do this, but if you haven't joined me before, just to let you know, this is where I take a few minutes of your Friday afternoon, typically to share with you a tip, strategy, or tactic that will help you make more sales. And today, at this time actually, I'm right in the middle of running two classes for HP Enterprise. We've just finished one, just on a short break now for an hour before we start the next class. And the class is around virtual meetings and virtual selling and all that sort of good stuff. Something we've now been doing for a couple of years. So depending whatever platform you might use, whether it's Zoom or WebEx or Teams or Google Meet or whatever, one of your objectives is always to try and get better interaction with your clients, particularly when it's over video and you're not face to face with them. And a great way of doing that, and one of the top kind of ideas that everybody comes up when I ask people, how do we kind of get engagement and get people involved more in our virtual meetings? They always say, well, questions, let's ask questions. So you're either going to ask questions of people or try and solicit questions from your audience, your customer. So I thought I'd just share with you two tips that will address sort of both those scenarios. So first of all, if you're trying to solicit questions from people, you want them to ask you things about maybe what you've just been presenting on or demonstrating or whatever it might be, then instead of just saying, does anybody have any questions, which is quite open, and which quite often ends up with silence, and that's partly because people kind of don't want to be embarrassed maybe in front of their peers to demonstrate they didn't understand something by asking a question. A better way of phrasing that is to say, what questions do you have for me about X, whatever it is you've been presenting on. The implication being that there are questions, everybody has questions, now's the time for you to ask them. It's a subtle difference, but it does make a difference. It can increase the interaction by about 30%, increase your chance of people actually asking you a question by that much. It's a technique that's actually taught to teachers in schools because it helps solicit questions from the children so they don't feel so embarrassed to ask a question amongst their school friends and look stupid, but because the teacher said there are questions to be asked and now's your chance to ask them, that's kind of why it's a subtle difference. So what questions do you have for me? Right, that's one thing. Now, obviously, the other side of the coin is you asking questions of your audience. And a tip here is to use people's names. But more importantly, use the name first. Don't use the name second. And we've probably all been there, either on a call or delivering it or as a receiver of information. And the person presenting will say something like, what do you think about Q&A as a way of interacting with your audience? Dave, what do you think? And the response from Dave is something typically like, sorry, what was the question again? You broke up there for a moment. Yeah, right. What was the question again? Whatever, something like that. And that's because typically they're not that engaged. They're tuned out, all right? I won't get into the statistics of that because that might scare you. But people throughout a lot of virtual meetings aren't that engaged. And I said that's for another day. But a better way is to use their name first and then ask the question. So you go, Dave, let me come to you first and ask a question about what we've just been talking about. Right? Dave is now fully engaged. You've used his name, heard his name, but is now anticipating your question and is listening. And this also helps the rest of the audience as well tune in a bit more because now they think that actually they might be next because you are actually calling on people for questions. So use people's names, use them first, and when you're asking questions of your audience, and typically you will get much better responses. And if you want to solicit questions, better way than just any questions is to say, what questions do you have for me? Two subtle little tips that will really help keep that engagement going. Q&A is one of the best ways in a virtual meeting to just kind of keep everybody engaged and interactive, to give you feedback, to gauge the temperature of the room, all that sort of stuff. Lots of value in doing so. So there's a couple of tips to help you do that more effectively. So hope you found that useful. I'm going to get a quick break before I start my next class. This has been 4 Minute Friday. You take care. Great week ahead selling. I'm Brian Conway. Take care. Bye.